Does your doctor nag you about your drinking or other things that are morally challenging? Well, according to the federal government, he should. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. Last week, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, noted with alarm that most Americans say that they have never discussed alcohol consumption with a health professional. Physicians' reluctance to broach the subject is especially troubling, the CDC said, because, quote, at least 38 million adults in the U.S. drink too much. Most news outlets reported the latter claim as fact, failing to notice the value judgment embedded in it. Contrary to what the CDC wants you to believe, the question of what it means to drink too much is a matter of moral and medical dispute. According to the CDC, problem drinkers consist mainly of binge drinkers, which does not mean what you might think. People who spend days in a drunken stupor, devoting themselves to intoxication in a way that seriously disrupts their lives. No. According to the CDC, a man is a binge drinker if at any point in the past month he has consumed 5 or more drinks on an occasion. For a woman, the cutoff is 4 drinks. This definition is based on the amounts typically needed to reach a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08%, which corresponds to the legal per se standard for driving while intoxicated. What if you do not plan to drive? It does not matter. The CDC has decreed that no one should ever drink this much, no matter the circumstances. And before I move on, I own a DUI website. I have studied the DUI laws in very focused detail. There is absolutely no test, no survey, no empirical evidence to say that a 0.08 does anything to a human. They literally pulled the number out of the air. And why did they pull the number out of the air? Because Mothers Against Drunk Drivers said that was the number. Well, where did the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers get that number? They got it from the people who were using them to come up with that number. And then they went on a crusade across the United States and had the federal government threaten all the states that they would not receive highway funding unless they adapted a 0.08 blood alcohol concentration. Now, if you can imagine, a little 4-foot tall male adult is not going to be the same drunkenness as a male who is 6'5" and weighs 300 pounds. It makes absolutely no sense. And you say, well, what should be the standard be? There should be no standard. Like other criminal laws, the prosecution, the DA, should have to prove that you were intoxicated at the time. The per se law, which is 0.08, means that you were per se drunk, regardless of whether or not you're 300 pounds or whether or not you're 100 pounds. The per se law says that you're drunk, and they don't have to prove anything. In all other criminal cases, they have to prove that you are guilty of the crime. Only in drunk driving, which is a cash cow, which makes billions of dollars a year, and which drunk driving is on a steep decline in the United States, meaning people are no longer driving drunk as they, even last year or the year before, like every year it is falling off of a cliff, simply because You have these awareness videos, and people are, friends are being the designated drivers. So you have a steep decline in drunk driving, but the news doesn't want to tell you that. The news doesn't want to say that. Do you know that in the top 10 causes of accidents, alcohol is not even related in it? And the reporting for drunk driving is completely false and erroneous. They will say that somebody is driving drunk, or that an accident was alcohol related, if they find alcohol on the vehicle at some point. That means sealed inside of your locked trunk. That means unopened alcohol in your locked trunk. They will charge you with driving while drunk. You don't believe it? Go look it up. Let's continue. Note that the CDC's definition of a binge is determined legally rather than scientifically. When the DWI standard was 0.10%, many of today's binge drinkers would not have qualified as such. And if Congress lowers the cutoff to 0.05%, the number of binge drinkers will shoot up overnight. The government's notion of binge encompasses patterns of consumption that do not cause measurable harm to anything except the CDC's sensibilities. If a man at a dinner party drinks a cocktail before the meal, a few glasses of wine during it, and a little bourbon afterward, he is drinking too much, according to the CDC, even if he takes a cab home. Even if you never binge in this manner, that does not necessarily mean your drinking meets with the government's approval. The CDC also worries about men who have more than 14 drinks per week and women who have more than 7. If you are a woman, don't think you can get a pass by sticking to 1 drink every day but Saturday. When you have 2, that puts you over the government's limit and makes you part of the problem. This is trying to create some sort of morality with laws, but whose morality are they going by? This is not morality legislation. This is how much money can we make off of people. If these CDC codes go into effect, literally the states will start implementing these codes, and what will happen is they will make even more money from the drunk driving and alcohol consumption laws that are already on the book. Everybody thinks that alcohol is such a problem. It is not a problem. Everybody thinks that there's people careening down the road drunk. It doesn't happen. The chief enemies of driving right now today are cell phones, children's, lovers, and instrument distractions on the panel of the driving panel. These distractions take up the top 10 and 20 causes of accidents in the United States. People messing with their cell phones, messing with their radios, arguing with a loved one in the passenger seat, arguing with children in the back seat, arguing with children in the front seat, messing with panels, messing with air conditioning. These are the top 10 causes of accidents. If a police tells you that it has something to do with alcohol, he is lying. He is lying. He has not looked up any empirical evidence. The empirical evidence shows that the top 10 to 20 causes of accidents has, in the top 10 has nothing to do with alcohol, and even in the top 20, alcohol is just one factor. It still goes to the top 20 as being something else, including somebody walking in the street with a cell phone or headphones who gets in your way and doesn't see that the light is red or what have you, or that they're not supposed to be there. These are in the top 10 or 20. Alcohol and drunk driving are on a steep clip down and have been since the 50s. There's the kicker. There's the absolute kicker. So if you hear Democrats say, we must legislate this and do this for the good of the country, they are lying. Point blank. They are lying. Kick them in the nuts and tell them to get out of your way and that you will be voting them out of office. Because they're lying. All they're doing is setting up a scenario where you, the public, have to pay more to do even less, have much less fun. Now, I'm not going to get into the marijuana and alcohol debate, but alcohol in very moderate consumption, if you did drink one drink every day and two on Saturday, I would call you a model citizen. I wouldn't call you an alcoholic. I wouldn't call you anything. And I believe your liver could take one drink a day and two on Saturday. That would be fine as long as you're drinking enough water and consuming enough salt to assist your body in removal of the alcohol and your liver in the removal of alcohol, and make sure you get your omega-3s. Anyway, tell me what you think about this. If you knew that the drunk driving laws were all a big lie just to get billions of dollars from the public. Oh, and they don't send people to jail all the time for drunk driving. The fines and the it's all a little connected corruption scheme. What they do is you can go to school to get the points taken off. You can go to the prevention school. You can put the blower on your car. These are all businesses that have strapped on to the thing. These are privately owned businesses that have strapped on to the whole drunk driving phenomena, the cash cow, and they're all milking the system and taking it away, along with the prisons. So you get thrown in jail, and the prison charges the state, the private prison charge. These are all privately owned businesses. This is what Americans are not understanding. This sort of stuff, it's all privately owned. So the jails, the prisons, the drunk driving school, the breathalyzer ignition system, the home arrest anklet. These are all privately owned businesses that have attached on to this phenomena. And if they put it or reduce the alcohol level from 0.10 to 0.08, boom, there you go. There's more population. And now they're talking about lowering it to 0.05. It has nothing to do with whether or not you are drunk. It has everything to do with trying to milk and bilk you out of your money. That is what it's about. They are far more designated drivers today, far more people who only drink in their home, who don't even go out, but they want to charge people. They want to charge people, and you have the luxury taxes or the sin taxes that are astronomical, like 50% in some cases. Tobacco and alcohol, 50% taxes in some states. It's I don't want to say it's outrageous. I mean, I don't know if alcohol is. Occasionally it's fine. I guess having a smoke occasionally is fine, and I don't mean fine as in it's good for you. I mean the damage that it's done if it's only one cigarette a week, or one cigarette every couple of weeks, or one drink a day. The problem is it's like potato chips, right? You can't just have one. Our society here in the United States, I lived overseas. Our society here in the United States doesn't do the one glass of wine with dinner. We don't do that. Over in Europe, they do that. Here, we don't. If we're gonna do alcohol here, because we are kept away from it for so long and there's this stigma about it, it just creates this notion that once you get the opportunity to have alcohol, you must consume all of the alcohol that you possibly can. And that's another video entirely. But a moderate consumption of the sin things is fine. It's not going to kill you. It really is not. One cigarette a week is not going to kill you. I don't care if you did it every week of your life. They have already said that the system can purge all of those toxins out of you. And I'm coming up with some more videos to show you how to purge some of those toxins. Anyway, tell me what you think about this video. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.